of what's in store for all of you today. We have a set of roundtable conferences happening right here in the Satya Sai Ashram today. To start with, this morning we have a rural food tech roundtable right here at the Premamrutam Hall. Parallelly, we also have a University Connect roundtable that's happening at the IMSR, that is Sri Sadguru Satya Sai Institute of Medical and Research Sciences. And then we also have nutrition and nutraceuticals at the Satya Sai Memorial Hospital. So with that, let me now call upon the first roundtable for the day, which is the Rural Food Tech Roundtable, which has been co-chaired by Mr. Satyajit Hange, founding farmer of Two Brothers India. Can we give him a round of applause? He's followed by an expert panel, Narasimha Bogavalli, Director, Tech Dynamics Inc., Arun Baral, CEO, Harvest Plus, Sai Prasad Ivaturi, Head Food and Nutrition, Satya Sai Trust. You can keep clapping, it's a good exercise. Dr. Raghavendra, CEO, RP Plus Analytics Solutions, UK. Parthasarthi Nara, CEO, Ananta Natural Farmers Producer Company Limited. Achyut Yaragangu, founder, CEO, Nature Quotient Ventures. Shekhar Dikshit from Emilio. Ram Kumar Verma, founder and CEO of Native Araku Coffee. Could I request the volunteer team to get, okay, we have. Do we need extra chairs? All right. So with that, let me now hand it over to the chair, Satyajit Hange, to please initiate the roundtable. All right, so we have, yes. So we have Narasimha Bogavalli, Director, Tech Dynamics, who is the chair, and he would now take over the roundtable. Mike, we have mics for you there.
Hello. Om Sri Sai Ram. Namaste to everyone and good morning. It is a pleasure to be here. This is the India Startup Foundation. This is the second, I believe this is the second startup conference, and we hope to, yes. So we have this, within the India Startup Foundation, we have set up a vision to help and promote, to identify, help and promote food tech companies in the space of startup companies in the space of food tech and agriculture and rural employment businesses and ventures that generate rural employment. I'm happy to be here today on behalf of we have set up a roundtable to address all the issues, to define the vision, and then to define the mission, what we have to do to achieve our goals. So I will talk to you. I will speak briefly about our goal, our vision, mission, and goals in that order. Okay. So first of all, once again, I'm happy to be here with our members of the roundtable, fellow members of the roundtable, all of our distinguished members, and so for me to just express myself and speak freely. India has been for thousands of years a very well-developed agrarian society. We have, I think, in the space of agriculture, India has been more developed for a much longer period. Um, Historians have to help us understand, but it will be in the thousands of years. And actually, when we understand history and we look deeply, it is the rural employment across the country, and the agri-productivity that always created the wealth in this country for thousands of years. So all of our, for a long history, we have a long history of wealth generation because of our rural and agri sector working very actively, being very productive. And to help that, we have the most kind of fertile and naturally blessed, um, even if I don't say the most, we have a very blessed land. Bharat Mata is very blessed in the terms of in the terms of geo positioning and the environment. So, for example, to highlight that, we can say one thing is compared to the amount of land India has, China has maybe 3 times the amount of land. But if we measure the actual agricultural, the land that we can apply agriculture to on a regular basis, farm and create output, India will be, even though we are 1/3 of the land mass of China, in terms of agricultural land, will be maybe 10% below China, maybe 5 or 10% below China. So we have huge agricultural land. And then agriculture always, and the second good point I can say is, if we consider the plant and animal species, we are very rich, very diverse plant animal species. And then the third point being, we had the wisdom of the sages for thousands of years who were able to understand life and direct and guide people on what is good for what is a good way of life, what is a really progressive way of life. And the ultimate, we have the real sustainable, ultimate progressive values, which is the progress of the Atma towards moksha. We have the real values. Our entire world, when everyone has their basic sustenance and their basic material needs satisfied, then their life is unsatisfied if they just continue living a material life. Then they start searching, and eventually the entire world, it doesn't matter which corner of the world you are, the entire world seeks out the values and the advancement, spiritual advancement of India. And that draws them to India. That is a separate topic. But now, with that spiritual advancement, we have defined agriculture and food in a different way. Even agriculture in the rural space, we have farmers who understand the yearly life cycles, the climate and the yearly life cycles, the solar cycle and the lunar cycles. And maybe some of that is lost, but there are still farmers around the country who know when to plant based on the solar and lunar cycles. They know when to plant, when to harvest. So there's a very deep knowledge of agriculture, and there is a very deep knowledge of food, of all the different types of food. So I'm mentioning that because this is creating opportunities for India now. We have to seize these opportunities. So in the West, for example, in the US, they had material wealth. So material wealth made them think a heavier plate of food is a better food, is a better plate. If you look at a very light, very low calorie and herbal kind of food, compared to that, if they can fill up their plate with something that's more expensive, like a big piece of steak and butter and bread, for a while they thought that was better for the human being because they could afford it, and they went in that direction. And maybe whatever period of time they've been progressing, and they didn't know better, so they were indulging in that. And as a result, we see now the cancer rates in US, it is doctors and statistics telling us cancer rates in US are 10 times across. There are maybe 15 types of cancer. on the lowest scale for certain types of cancer, in US it is 10 times that of India. And in some types of cancer, it is 20 times that of India for a section of population. So now they realize, all of the West, they realize in terms of medicine, in terms of food, they may have not had the right idea. They had wealth, they had material wealth, but now they know they didn't have the right idea. And every point I'm mentioning because it is opportunity. It's opportunity for India now. It's economical opportunity. These are not just philosophical ideas, but the West is actually seeking out, very actively, seeking out the nutrients, the nutrient-rich diet and diet practices that we have. So and that creates opportunities. They're in the, starting 20 years ago, everybody knows they started studying turmeric. And turmeric is an amazing, there were 2,000 research studies performed on turmeric alone. And it has amazing anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, anti-other microbial properties without harming the human system. When we take a chemical medicine, you can try to kill the bacteria, but it kills a part of us also. But when we have this turmeric and neem, we just have these excellent technologies, methods. We know how to use honey, we know how to use ghee. It's just a vast knowledge. And so when the world is trying to get to a better diet, there is nowhere else but coming back to Indian diet. And that obviously, and I personally also am on a journey, entrepreneurial journey of utilizing this, exploiting this economically. And I mean, to exploit economically, we need to be successful, but at least I've started a journey. So the journey is, for me, in the West, right from 2010, a lot of people are turning to vegetarian diet, vegetarian and vegan, plant-based diet. And when you turn to plant-based diet, there's no better diet again. All of our science, all of our curry. I've had a lot of Westerners tell me the Indian curry they've learned when they get, of course, a little aged and they've studied a lot of things. Very good people that I've met, business executives that I've met, they've told me that curry is a science and we have learned to make it at home. The ingredients, everything that goes into a curry. So all of this creates opportunities for us, and I myself have started a solar-dried vegetable venture, everything solar-dried. Our leafy vegetables are most nutritious. With this as the background, now this is a general background, that we have some better products and better knowledge in India. Now this ISF has this great vision of promoting the opportunities that come across. Now, because I think Prime Minister Modi and everybody has been saying our food exports will be our next big opportunity for India, along with software. And J.A. Chowdhury garu also has that vision. He's very nicely laid out. He was the key person to form our roundtable, and he laid out the vision that we need to focus on the food sector, all of the agri sector and food production, processing, all of these sectors, because these also can create opportunities because of the world's attention. Of course, within India also we need more, and the world also needs our high quality products. So I think I can yeah. So that's the main point I wanted to share. So our roundtable will be focused as we go from year to year. We have a vision which is to increase the number of businesses, number of successful businesses that generate high quality, organic and healing foods. I have one of my friend here, Sarvanand from Dindigal. He has established, thank you. He has worked hard for many years to establish a spirulina farm, organic spirulina farm. And spirulina has tremendous healing properties. It is a superfood. It is used by the US Army. And the district collector of Dindigal is running a study now. And the spirulina has already been used in Karnataka and other places. It helps malnutrition children tremendously. If you give the amount of spirulina, which is a kind of algae, just grows in water under the sun, and it produces organically. It has a full range of vitamins and protein and fiber. It's just a complete nutrition. And small children, when they take it from 3, 4, 6 months age up to 3 years and 4 years, their growth, especially in the poorer families where they're malnourished, the development of the child is tremendous. So that is an excellent example of how entrepreneurs in our country are creating valuable products, and so we need to encourage that more. So that will be the vision and the mission of this roundtable, to to identify all of these startups and fund them and guide them and help them with all kinds of developmental and marketing activities. So with that, I think I can yes. Okay, and now we'd like to we'll just introduce all of ourselves, all of our the roundtable members. I am Narasimha Bogavali. I've 30 plus years I've been in US. I went there as a graduate student after completing engineering and did a master's in computer science engineering, and worked for 10 years, and I started a company in 2002. We have a family history of food processing way back from 1970. So after 2010, seeing this broad change in US, and with the help of some of my software clients and business executives, I slowly got into these health foods, kind of where foods that impact health, not the heavily processed kind of So that's my background and my introduction. I'll pass on to our deputy chairman of the roundtable for him to introduce himself.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I am a farmer. My name is Satyajit, and I run a farm called Two Brothers Organic Farms in a small village called Bhodni in Indapur Tehsil, Pune district. And I run it along with my younger brother Ajinkya. Started off, both are sons of farmers, but were educated in a school and a college in Pune, which is around 200 kilometers from my village, and doing a job and working with all the good, corporate names like Citibank and DBS and Standard Chartered. We, after working for 5, 6 years, decided to come back to our village and do farming because of our love for farming and having seen livestock and food growing process when we were small, when we used to come back to the village for our holidays. So we started this initiative 7, 8 years back, and what started off as an initiative only to express our joy and kind of have joy in doing what we love has now grown into a brand that works with over 1,000 farmers across 16 states, and we have over I think 2.5 lakh customers across India and across the world. So I'll be sharing some of my insights and my inputs being an entrepreneur operating from a small village in the agri space. I'll hand it over to Partha, my colleague now.
Namaste to all. Myself Parthasarathi, born and brought up village Upanesanapalli, Sri Satyasai district. Born in farmer's family. Grown up in the village, same village, studied in a school, village school, and then graduated from Sri Krishnadevara University in computer science, and worked in IT sector for 11 years, worked in various multinational companies, Hyderabad, Bengaluru, US also. But as I grown in a village, I've seen practically what were the challenges which my father was facing and how my grandfather was doing successfully in the farming, the resources with that, and how he was successful. And when he came to my father, we are like so many struggles actually. That made me to think about much doing something back here. With that initiative, we started organic farming on our own farm in 2013 and tried various crops. And that made me more strength, and resigned from job in 2015. Since then, I thought more make a collective work to build a better marketing collective platform. We started with the name of Ananta Naturals and started mobilizing the farmers with various volunteering initiatives, made a collective now, and we have a marketing platform which sells our products through our collective, and we are establishing a rural enterprise where we want to do everything at the village level and process as our team, ISF team, working towards the rural enterprises. We are already in the path, which is showing progress to educate the farmers, connect with them, work with them in a supporting mechanism and provide the marketing linkages. Thank you.
A very good morning, everybody. My name is Sai Prasad Ivaturi. I'm the trustee and CFO for Sri Satyasai Annapurna Trust. We provide free morning nutrition for needy school-going children, typically those attending rural government schools across India. We started about 12 years back. Today, we serve about 30 lakh children, about 3 million children, across 23 states and 4 union territories across India. And the morning nutrition is in various forms which are suitable to the local regional palate, which I'll explain a little bit in the context of the food tech context that we're talking about here. By my own personal background, I was from an IT background previously. I was formerly a director at HP. I used to head the Asia operations for HP's PC business. Before that, I was in GE as an assistant vice president and Cisco briefly, and I studied in Indiana State University in the US, and I worked in the US for about 8 years. But I was always looking for a calling to do this, and I'm very glad to be doing this full time. I live inside the campus here in Satyasai Grama, and Satyasai Annapurna Trust was founded and conceived by Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sahib. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to see you all and speak on a very emotional and personal topic, that is food and food tech. So myself, I'm Shekhar Dikshit, CEO and founder of a community-driven social platform for food. So prior to this, I was in the US. I'm an ex-MD from Accenture, worked with great companies like Unilever, Smithfield, Cargill, DuPont, and Hillshire. So a lot of my good part of my career was spent with largest food companies or processing companies in the world that are known. And I'm happy to be part of this panel today and share some of my insights. And I did congratulate Satyajit, saying that my wife and entire family is a fam of two brothers, and I'm happy to be sharing the dais with them. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. On this particular day, we have chosen this particular roundtable as the focus of this festival, India Startup Festival, is innovation at the bottom of the pyramid. And this is the main reason, as we believe that we empower the rural, the world will prosper. Because the roots are strong, the tree is greener, and it's more, it's nourishing. So I would like to introduce myself. I'm Achyut Eragangu. I'm one of the co-founders for India Startup Festival and joint managing trustee for India Startup Foundation. And other than this, before, I run a venture called Nature Quotient Ventures, which is a conscious lifestyle brand. We have a couple of brand names called Forest Origins, which is into native foods, heirloom seeds and native seeds foods across different type of rice, pulses, and other grains. And Forest Origins is a brand which is into honey, single floral, multifloral honey, and functional teas, which are made out of flowers, roots, and barks across, based on Ayurvedic formulations, addressing various functional teas, which are into like solving problems of thyroid or blood pressure, incorporating in our daily lives instead of caffeine-free teas. And right now, today, I'm honored to be in this panel among all the stalwarts of this community, and looking forward to having a discussion after the contest set. I'm handing over to Ram.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ram Kumar Verma. I represent Native Araku Coffee. I come with a very different experience towards transformation into the farming field and primarily working for tribal welfare and building an ecosystem for better livelihood for tribal fraternity. I work with multiple MNCs, about 16 years into work with IBMs and then talk about TCS, work with G and all of that as a backdrop. With a short story and an emotional connect between a tribal farmer and me in 2017 has originated for native Araku coffee. No background about coffee, no knowledge about coffee. See, people keep saying, right, it's the destiny which pulls you in. And that's how my destiny is written to add value to the tribal fraternity. It's been 6 years now. We run the brand called Native Araku Coffee, where we adopt villages, we train farmers, spend some time on the next generation entrepreneurs from the tribal fraternity to add value to the ecosystem. And we also look for like-minded people who can add value to the same fraternity in our partnership and relationships also. In the same context, to update, Two Brothers is one of our partners, so their coffee vertical is also managed by us. So that's how I'm happy that I'm sitting down on the same platform with like-minded people are spending time to add value to the ecosystem. Thank you so much.
I think now that the context is set, we'll come down to the topic in focus. And I would like to start by asking Partha, who's taken a similar journey like all of us, and a special mention because all of us have not been incentivized to get into the work that we are doing, but have been inspired to get into the work that we have been doing. Some have left greener pastures and doing this work because they are inspired to help farmers on one hand and to give good food to consumers on the other hand. I would like to ask Partha, being a rural entrepreneur who's left a job, came back from the US, and went back to his village and started a startup, supplied fresh fruits and vegetables in the city to consumers, and is put in a lot of effort and a lot of struggle to make this venture a success. His livelihood depends on this startup. So, what inspired him, and what is the biggest challenge that he's facing as a rural entrepreneur in the food sector now?
Yes, Satyajit. Yeah. So the initial thought process was to quit the job and create some platform for the collective, primarily that is the marketing. So the marketing, we should do marketing, then only the farmer will listen to us. If you want to transform into the natural or organic farming. So I thought, let's create a market platform, then that will pull us to getting into the farming, more people into the transfer into the organic natural farming. So with that idea, first what we did is we started a local market first. We started selling at farm, whatever the fresh produce we grown, few vegetable varieties and fruits like papaya, banana. And then I started getting, when I was working at the time, I started getting that to our colleagues in office in Bangalore, Manyata Tech Park, sharing with them. And then they said, the taste is very good compared to the available produce in the supermarkets. And why don't you bring for us on regular basis? But I didn't try. Initially, we started a organic shop in Anantapur. There is a farmers market, which is close to us. Every district headquarter has that. So we thought, let's do locally sell sometime. We tried our level best there, but the people acceptance was very low to purchase the produce, because the produce which we grow initially, it requires a lot of resources and then the human effort that require little cost. We should keep higher price than the market to sell in the market. And then again convincing the customer, there are many challenges. Because of that, we need to price a bit high than compared to the markets. That is not encouraged much in the Anantapur. Then we thought, let's get into the city consumer market. So we started getting the fresh produce which are grown from our farm and around our farmers. Initially, I thought if I want to get into the Bangalore, I need to work on the logistics part. Anantapur for me near whatever small quantity I was going and selling, but if I want to bring to Bangalore 250 kilometers and supply to that, I need a kind of produce which I can work. Then I thought I can't grow myself altogether. I thought let's do collective. And then I started going around farmers, educating them, mentoring them, supporting whatever we can do, like seeds, native seeds, and then the giving some cows, donating through the friend support. We donated cows to the few farmers, and then started mentoring them and started getting like produce around them, started coming to the city, Bangalore, and talking to the colleagues and the communities. We started selling the few varieties, keeping the stalls in the communities and selling directly to the customers. And then we can grow limited varieties. It's not like Bangalore consumer can, whatever they want, exotic and the seasonal, all these things. So first challenge was that, like, they want the number of varieties, and then the fresh, they want look better, and then color, shape, because most of the consumer market now driven that the fruit looks like this, like the apple, like pomegranate should be 200 grams above, apple should look like that, guava look like that. They train their minds that like that. So the acceptance of the whatever naturally, organically grow, it won't looks like that actually. And then, but if you open and cut it and see, the fruit is really good and it's nutritious. That is first difficulty we had to get into the, few customers convince and buy it, but most of them are started rejecting the like produce. That was the big challenge, and the varieties, available varieties for them. So they are like trying that they should take. So when we were kids, there are very limited portion of the meal having 2-3 vegetables or few greens or pulses. That is taking care of our nutrition. But when come to here, they want like multiple varieties actually. Because of, it's like they have that education, they want everything. That also we had a challenge to give them the varieties of the produce. Even still we tried like sourcing and trying like around farmers, Bangalore. But to scale it up, it's again challenge for us to varieties. And then the delivery system, like as everybody is working in the city, they want like proper delivery system, and then the fresh, it looks like fresh. Always our eyes says like if it looks fresh, that is the vegetable, that is the green for us. Otherwise, it's like not good actually. Because of that, we try to build all that connects and made a very good connect. To scale that up, it's not possible with us. We realized it required a lot of more efforts, and then we slow down on the perishable front, and it's not getting sustainable for us. And if you see the markets, some markets which are selling organic food produce, because of the customer intentions, customer trend, they started giving as per the customer's demand. That also losing lot of trust with the organic food produce. We thought not get into that. If we have the genuine produce, let's give us. Otherwise, don't get into that. And then we slow down. And now we understood well like what is the real challenge. So here, there is an opportunity here. It's not only challenge. We can overcome this, but we need to form a cluster of farmers, and there should be a like-minded team actually. It like, for me, I'm alone journey. Most of the time, I was handling everything, like from the farmer to the consumer connect. But if there is a like-minded people like us join together and put up a team, and then there should be a team for production who understand the consumer behavior, and then who understand the farmer challenges, life cycles, who can educate back to the customer. People like us join as a collective way, whatever the platform, and then the work as per the customer demand, and as well as we need to educate the farmer back, like what are the customer trends are going, what we can grow for the farmer customers. Such kind of initiatives we can pull up. There is a good opportunity, I feel, in the perishable sector. And along with that, there are many collective schemes which can be taken it forward, and then we can do a lot of value addition. I mean, when you grow organically, there will be kind of, you get a different kind of produce. It will be, some are shape are good, some are the different odd shapes. And as Narasimha sir is telling, a lot of value addition. The nutrition levels will be same, but we can do the value addition. The good food, like we can sell in the wherever the target market is there, like which looks better. And the second, which graded in second grade, we can do the value addition at rural level and send like wherever it's a branded way. Like that, we can achieve we have the solution for it, but we need the kind of the team for working forward. I think this forum will give us a like resources team to use the expertise people like us to bring up the next level of platform. We'll look forward for that actually.
Just
Thank
like
you.
what Partha told, that it's difficult for perishables because the shelf life is just 1 or 2 days. And organic foods as well, because there is no pesticides or on the layer, it degrades faster. So that's how even Narasimha Garu were telling. So dehydration is one of the process where you can extend the shelf life to a lot more months, like 6 months to 1 year when stored well. And the nutrition might be decreasing by 20% or so, but the shelf life is there. There's no food wastage. And food wastage is being one of the major concerns in the industry, and that has to be solved. So this is one of the pain point what needs to be addressed, and it is one of the main uh, segment which we have to work in the next year, which we have decided collectively, the food preservation. And the second being the value addition for food, making it more nutritious. So how Prasad Garu is working on the nutrition part to enrich the food using different fortification. And the third being sustainable food production, which is using sustainable ways of electrical generation and other things. So I request Narasimha to tell about the food dehydration and what the pain points and how we can implement it, so that we work with certain farmers this year and show a positive impact, so that it's just not a lecture giving conference, and we have to implement it, and will prove that this is a model which will really work, and and we will show that in the next year that this is the progress what we have done, so that it'll be productive.
Yes, thank you, Achyut. So that is this entire topic of food preservation. Um, India is, unfortunately, we are behind rest of the world in processing this perishable, nutritious, perishable food that's being produced. So how to, I mean, so as a roundtable and as entrepreneurs, investors, I mean, the whole country, central government has this food processing. There's a minister for food processing. I'm, in some plans to meet. There's some discussions got initiated. But talking about this entire food preservation, there are multiple ways, and we have to explore everything and apply everything where it applies. So among the multiple ways, there is one that is kind of maybe adding preservatives and canning. And that is not, I mean, preservatives also, there are natural preservatives like citric acid and then canning. But canning is not a value addition. That's the West don't know, so they were canning and bottling vegetables. If you open a can, it's literally, there's no value in it. So the next things we can apply the other ideas, kind of like fermenting vegetables is actually a very effective way to increase the nutrition. So wherever these applies, we have to apply these different techniques. There's either for bottling and fermenting in certain ways, or dehydration. In dehydration also there are multiple ways. There's vacuum dehydration, general heat dehydration in a closed chamber. But one of the ways that is very low cost, because we have sunshine, we have sunshine apart from the rainy season. India, all over India, there's sunshine throughout the year. And so solar dehydration is a very effective way to dehydrate the foods, and then they retain their nutrition. So when we talk about for nutrition, and they have a shelf life. Once dehydrated, it doesn't have to be, it's not expensive to keep it as compared to keeping it frozen. And freezing is again a Western template, refrigeration and freezing, because they didn't know any better. They started that way. Then we thought cold storage plants, maybe for some to some extent, maybe cold storage plants also will have an application, and that is good. But on a large scale, talking about solar dehydration, I like to say there's all of us know fruit and vegetables, they have vitamins, everybody knows that. Minerals also, everybody knows that. Then fiber also, everybody knows that. Then the the carbohydrates and whatever the food value, the sugars and the complex sugars and everything like that, the nutrition, food value that we all know. But one key component of fruit and vegetable is live enzymes. That is the pranic energy in these fruit and vegetables. And this is preserved very well in studies that we have known so far, we have seen so far. 85% of the live enzymes are preserved in solar drying for years together. And the live enzymes is what gives the fruit and vegetable their flavor, and that's what adds to our immunity, it supports our immunity. It's very critical, it's the pranic energy. So apart from vitamins, this particular quality of the fruit and vegetable, it is spoiled when you just freeze it or cold store it. It goes down to like 30% from what I've seen. And even if it is not dehydrated, even if you harvest a fruit and vegetable and leave it alone at room temperature for 3-4 weeks, the enzymes come down, they expire. It's kind of like there is a pranic energy, and it kind of expires. It's equal to expiring. The life in it comes down. Even the vitamins perish, and it comes down to like if we in 3-4 weeks, there are studies for most fruits and vegetables, it comes down to like 20% after 4 weeks. After 2 weeks, it's like 50-40%. So if we adopt any of these dehydration techniques, and solar dehydration is a lower cost also, we have the sunshine is free. And it's also, they also get vitamin D enhanced and flavor, and some kind of flavor enhancing when they're solar dehydrated. So if we adopt this, actually Parth Sardigari also, where the organic produce that you had, solar dehydration, we can discuss this further. It will be an excellent way to, because the flavor and everything, the nutrition will get locked. And after that, I think across India also, if we start producing the solar dehydrated vegetables and fruits, the consumption will increase. And practically in US, I am seeing in grocery stores over the last 10 years, all of us know just raisins. It is dried grapes, and we know dates. But over the years, I've been observing, they've been selling, and there's different types of dehydration, including freeze drying, and after freeze drying, they're vacuum sealed. And there's vacuum drying, freeze drying, vacuum drying, solar drying. There's some of the techniques. But in stores in US, I'm seeing more and more fruit. Every 6 months or a year, I will see more fruit that are dehydrated. I'm not sure which. I think for the commercially, vacuum dehydration is probably being used a lot, especially in the West. But in any case, dehydrated fruit is becoming more and more common. So after having being used to raisins and dates, 10 years ago, what I started seeing, apples first dehydrated, then pears and peaches dehydrated, and then over time now, last year I've seen strawberry and blueberry, over 2 years ago I've seen them dehydrated. So dehydration is a good technique, and the other angle, the world's requirement for food and nutrition is increasing. When it increases, so the logistical challenge of carrying a fresh fruit, and like Parth Sardigari overcame all these challenges, trying to put the fresh fruit in front of the customer in some community, transport it. The logistics of the transportation, it is a perishable commodity. All of those the challenges keep increasing. So I think we should promote these dehydration techniques, and as they are promoted, and all kinds of processing, of course, all kinds of processing to preserve. If it is fruit can be pulped very well, and pulp can be canned, fruit canning, it's very, very common. After it's canned, it's shipped all around the world and used in juices. And all of this processing is required because of one, perishable, and two, seasonal. Everything is seasonal. So mango is everybody's, for most people, it's a favorite fruit, but it's it's harvested, or it fruits, or it comes out for about 2 months, maybe max 3-month period. And in that 3-month period, and it's seasonal, but throughout the year, if you want to enjoy mango, it has to be processed and preserved in some way. And among the solar drying, we're doing all of the vegetables, and leafy vegetables especially, the nutrition value is best preserved in drying. And another small snippet I will share. Over the last year, we tried sun drying sapota and sitafal. It's amazing actually. And even pineapple, sun-dried pineapple, all of these are just, we have the solar dryers put on a tray. So we just that all of us actually, like we said, we come into this with passion. So we need more time and resources to actually expose this more. But really sun-dried pineapple and sun-dried sitafal, because it's such a soft fruit, it almost like a pulp. We put like a pulp on a tray. The flavor is just amazing. And sitafal is especially, I remembered sitafal when I talked about the short time within the year that the fruit comes out. Sitafal is one of those short periods, maybe 6 weeks, hardly 2 months you get the sitafal fruit. There are a few hybrid varieties fruiting for longer, but hybrid has a different issue. When we start creating genetically modified or hybrid, they disturb nature, and at the very sensitive level, they disturb nature in a different way. So if we just take the actual organic sitafal, the fruit is available only for around 6 weeks, max 8 weeks. But if we can process it in some way, then it can be available throughout the year. And all of this, the focus again is all of this will on the one hand increase rural employment and rural incomes, and on the other hand, it increases nutrition around the world.
It's a great thing, sir, what you spoke. And similarly is the jackfruit. It's so much abundant, once the season comes, there is so much abundance of jackfruit, and that is a nutrition, loaded with nutrition. And something similar to that, sun is a God's gift for humanity. Without sun, we cannot exist. And it's a free of cost. We just have to and there is innovative solar dryers which have Indian made, and which is completely out of stainless steel, which has no contamination. It's even the free air contamination is also less. And I would like to know more about what Annapurna Trust is doing with food fortification, because that is one of the main reasons, because malnutrition has to be addressed, and they're doing an absolute phenomenal work. 30 lakh people without any free of cost to the right segment. I would like to know more about how you're working with farmers and how you processing the grains to fortify it.
Sure. Thank you. Our Bhogavalli Garu, Honorable Chair, has mentioned about turmeric and spirulina, some of these superfoods and all that. And I think taking that further, I would like to submit that for the millets is a new superfood, obviously. It's not a new one. It's actually as old as many, many years back. It was traditionally seen as a poor man's food, right? But it has never been a poor man. It's actually a very, very wonderful food. Of course, the rice and polished rice came in just a few decades ago. But the genesis for this is the fact that India is the home to the largest number of children in the world, right? But we are also the home to the largest amount of malnutrition, just by that, 1/5 of the world's population, right? So that's where we looked at. One of the observations that we found was that the children were coming to the school on an empty stomach, on a hungry stomach. And that was something that we observed, because while the assembly hall was going on, the children would just drop off and then fall down and so on. And we realized what was happening. And they were coming on an empty stomach. And there has got to be something to be done. Initially, we thought we'll do some regular breakfast-based foods, which we did. But then we realized that what was really the problem, underlying problem, was the undernutrition, the malnutrition. And that was something that we needed to actually change. And we're trying to look for some kind of an intervention where the kind of requirement in terms of execution is very easy, and it is a decentralized model. So we came across this, we tried different things, and then we actually started, we tried this kind of thing called ragi. It's a fortified ragi. What this contains, it has a ragi, but defatted soya, rice flour, salt, cinnamon, turmeric, vitamins and minerals, right? So we realized that when we started doing this, the children also like this. This is actually given to schools along with jaggery. When that happens, the children adoption has been great, and then and it has the right kind of the sodium, potassium, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, the entire nutrients that are getting into the body of the children. Now, if you were to do this as a vitamin tablet, it's a metallic tasting, the children would never have it. So, but when we started doing this, the children's adoption, or at least the taking in, has increased. So recently, the government of Telangana, they came up with an offer. We were doing for about 4.5 lakh children, and then they said, why don't you do for the entire 20 to 25 lakh children, and let's share, 50-50 the cost and so on. So it was an offer that we could not refuse. So with that, we are today, as of July, we are doing for the entire state of Telangana. And so that is how we are doing. In Karnataka, we have something called a malt-based, because Karnataka is giving milk through the Kshirabhagya scheme. And to that, we are doing a malt-based, it's like a Bonvita kind of a thing, but from a rural standpoint. So here also, it's a multi-nutrient mixed food. So it's a malt-based kind of a thing. So with this, we are able to achieve in a very, very simple manner, where you don't have to have a very complex kitchen infrastructure. You can actually give this as dry ingredients to the doorstep of the children at the schools, and then we incentivize the cooks of the government school children, or at least the government schools, and then they get up, the cooks come in a little bit early, and then they prepare fresh and hot, and the entire children have it, and of course the staff have it and all that, and then they begin to start having the food. Now, what we have realized is, ever since this food has started coming in, not only is the focus on the children, on the studies has increased, the health profile naturally has increased, and sir, even the teachers are a lot more motivated to teach the children, and the children are a lot more coming on time. Teacher, we are already here. Of course, we know why. And then enrollments are increasing, sir. So, which means, in this way, we are actually arresting dropouts, which is the biggest problem in the government schools today. So a small food-related intervention is helping us deliver healthy and productive citizens for the next generation. That's really what Annapurna has all been doing about. Thank you.
Great, sir. And really, it's amazing that you have dedicated your life to this project and this cause. And it's amazing what Annapurna Trust is doing. And I would like to suggest even sprouted ragi.
Yes.
So sprouted ragi is one of the things which is, it's even more nourishing, and it it's adding value to your product as well. Hoping to see that product as well coming up in the market.
Let's discuss more.
Yes.
So we are very flexible about, we're trying to do it through local pellet. So we tried sattu, we tried different in North India, Northeast, tribal areas and so on. And wherever there's a nutrition as well as a flavor with the children will adopt, definitely we will try to explore.
Yes.
The possibilities are endless.
Yes. So the next thing is, the pain point is working with the farmers and enriching the farmers, teaching them the right techniques. They were already known, it's been traditionally handed over generations. Now that coming generations are having not interest because of a lot of factors. Farming is no more a well-known thing. They want all shifting to IT jobs. Unlike people from IT jobs are coming to the farming and other Partha and Satyajit.
We are sourcing from the farmers directly.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I would like Satyajit, to tell us about how he is working with the farmers at the grassroots level. And I know it's not unlike US or UK or Australia, hundreds and thousands of hectares, each farmer or land holding thing. It's 1 acre, 2 acres, 10 acres, maximum 50 acres. How they are working and how they are implementing technology and sourcing, teaching them the right techniques. And even Ram Kumar Garu is doing great initiative with the tribals, working with the tribals to do the coffee variants. So I would like to Satyajit to speak about it, and then Ram Kumar.
So when we started our experiments on our own farm and it was successful to an extent, many farmers showed interest in working alongside us or in getting that solution. Um, when we started working with farmers, we understood that as a brand or as a marketing company, you can't just sit in a city, develop a brand and only source from farmers. One is that the traceability is not there. Second, you are not helping the farmer holistically. The farmer needs a holistic solution. He doesn't need only a buyer. So for that, since we had done farming ourselves, we had some solutions in that aspect, and we were selling in our own brand's name, we had solutions in that aspect. We put up a team whom we call the farmer relationship managers and an app around it, and started hand-holding the farmers from the seed stage. It's not a superficial sourcing arrangement that we have with them, but we work with them from the seed stage. Everything is documented till the harvest stage. It's not for traceability and not for auditing or not for policing purposes. The main idea is to handhold them and give them solutions at every stage. See, every farmer wants to make his soil healthier, wants to do sustainable farming, but he doesn't know how to do it. Conventional agricultural literature, education, practices are all around chemical farming and monocultures. When you want the farmer to convert to a mixed food forest kind of a farming that increases the soil fertility, you need to educate him from seed stage on how to do it. And that's what this team does. They are a team of BSc, MSc agricultural graduates who are re-educated in natural farming and organic farming. And they handhold the farmer, give him solutions at every step. And then as a brand, we give them a market which is higher than the conventional market. So if I have figured out in a small way that if you give a holistic solution, then it is sustainable and the farmer keeps to the journey, and you can work with him for a longer period of time.
So added to what Satyajit said, a little different paradigm in tribal segment, because the first point which we have to win is their hearts and the trust in that zone. It took us almost 2 years for us to really establish that connect. But the beauty after that is, once they start trusting them and trusting us, it's a mutual relationship. When you go back to them and tell them, do you know something, your coffee has such a great value and this has such a huge nutritional value, people don't understand. But at the same point of time, you tell them, hey, look, you're producing certainly about 100 kgs per annum. I'll help you out in getting to 150 kgs with a better price with zero investment. There is some catch behind the farmer. Because farmer does not understand what is nutrition, farmer doesn't understand what's happening behind the screen. And once he understands, okay, if I want to get a better price and a better yield, what is that I need to do next? Is when we have to start inducing in them, stating that every 3 months you'll have to ensure the foundation is clean, you ensure the watering is done on time, or you ensure that your organic fruit is going right. They cannot take more than 5 to 6 inputs, right? And that patience, trust building will certainly yield us a little more brand value. And along with it, everybody talks about, native Araku coffee has a bigger brand. But what goes behind the screen is the effort which a farmer is putting in, right? Yeah, we will have transitional challenges like too many middlemen into the ecosystem. We have to fight with them. We have to tell them, today the farmer have to get his share, only then a middleman is there. If the farmer thinks, I don't want to do farming, then what happens, right? It's a convincing factor which we have to sell it at every stage. Again, the middleman is again a tribal farmer. He comes from the same gene again, right? So that's one which certainly helped us out. And also like-minded people, when I say at the end user side too. When I say an end user side, today I have partnered with two brothers. I have partnered with multiple airport organizations, and my presence is there. Why did they get convinced to sell our coffee when there is such a huge competitive market? Is because we're adding value there. And when I go back to the farmers and tell them, do you know something? The coffee which you have cultivated is sitting down in the airport today, and customers are enjoying your coffee. Then the win-win factor between him and me is, now you tell me what do you want. Customer will not, the farmer will not have any ask. Are you sure my coffee is sold? Yes, yes, it is your farm. That's the only winning factor which made native Araku coffee successful. And we are doing a lot of background work in terms of branding tribal farmers directly. If you see all our branding, it's a farmer whom we work with. It is no artificial farming photography taken. So that's one another winning factor which helped us out to really get the market share. And then, the couple of things which certainly this team can contribute to, which is towards the food and supply chain management. As you know, after COVID, logistics have become very, very expensive for us to really get it done. Now, customer has his own ask where everything has to come to his doorstep. But farmer still is not getting his share because the logistics has been very, very high. So how do we really work on it? I know there are experts who found some solution on it. I would like to hand over this mic to Shekhar, who can really help me out on that connect.
Absolutely pleasure. So I was just relating to my own story. My mom told me that I used to go to school at the age of 2 just because they were giving me milk and cookies. That's how my life learning started. And food was something that always motivated me. And she told me that anything given to me as food, I would do anything for it. So after spending 76, after traveling to 76 countries, spending 2 decades or so as a managing director for Accenture, food was a passion that brought me back. And I said, as part of this inspiration of leaving greener pastures and coming back here was to take food and spread happiness along with it. So when I talk about food tech, right, I see that into 5 segments that we have talked earlier. One is the production, the second part is storage, third part is consumption, the fourth aspect is the wastage. So a few facts I would like to share with the panel as well as the startups who might be interested in solving problems across the spectrum. So we know that the population of India is around 1.5 billion and we are growing, and each one, not just in India, but across, food is one aspect of it. So I would like to cite a quick Sanskrit phrase here. So we have called Anna is Parabrahma. It is a life which has always been sustaining us or many of us across all the animals around it. And one other thing to supplement that would be if you eat food as a medicine, you'll live longer. Otherwise, you'll have to eat medicine as food. Right? So we have to look at the entire supply chain and the spectrum of food because that is very much needed for us even if you go to Mars or any other place. Right? If humans are going to Mars or Moon, you need food to be part of it, otherwise you're not going to survive. That's our DNA. So here, in terms of consumption and distribution, there's a huge space where we see around more than 30% of the food that gets produced get wasted through the process of distribution, even through the consumption. There's an opportunity for many startups to come into, like you said, the storage aspect of it, or preserving it in some form, or even distributing it more sustainably. It's key so that way we are able to conserve. And each kg of food that is produced, it uses around 25 liters of water, and there's so much that goes around making it happen, including the transport. And containing the wastage could be one aspect of it. And then one of the statistics that I've learned recently, on an average in India itself, not around any other place in the world, we waste around 50 kgs per person per population. So that's quite a lot of food that can go to some needy people and so on. And there are opportunities to see if there is a fair and sustainable distribution that can be looked at along with the production and supply. And I was very inspired because one of the problem Achyut called out was the brain drain and migration from rural areas to urban areas, mainly because of IT. Unfortunately, I was the MC for Agritech yesterday. A lot of inspirational talk and motivational stories I've heard. And agripreneurs is a way to go, to create agriculture as a business, empower them in the means and ways of, they were talking about reverse credit swaps so that the farmers have assured income before they bring crop. Otherwise, they are taking the biggest risk in producing crop, and they're losing at the end of it. They're not gaining as part of the whole supply chain and intermediaries, right? And one of the farmer, I was deeply motivated in the conversation yesterday. His name is Ananda. He's from Karnataka. His whole conversation was about how do we stop that reverse brain drain aspect of it? How do we take the knowledge that has been acquired over centuries and decades and put it in the form of AI or something that can be taken to people as well as the machines if they are coming to work in the production of food. And then the subtle message that came across was, food is something that we live and breathe, and that's the very purpose of it. And the farmer, especially the food producer, the very emotion that he sustains and survives is being in tune with nature, right? So from a technology perspective, and we as a startup, we have a huge spectrum of opportunities to look into various problems: production, storage, consumption, distribution. How do we contain wastage? I mean, last thing I'll conclude before I hand it back to Rashmi is that I was a judge in one of the jury where kids aged like 10 to 15 were pitching. And one of the girls came up with an idea of incinerator, which would take waste foods in commercial places like restaurants and all, and will convert that into a fertilizer. I mean, great ideas that are coming up with younger talent than other than us, and we should probably create a forum that can support such talents into rapid experimentation and deployment in the real world. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you so
so
much.
in conclusion, I'd like to say, like all good things must come to an end. We are coming to the end of our roundtable discussion here. And in conclusion, I'd like to say it was an honor to be on stage with the rest of the distinguished panels of our roundtable. And all of us together, this roundtable will take it as a serious mission to do everything we can. We have a very broad range set of skills that we bring together in this roundtable, and I think we will make it our mission to do everything we can to promote more food production, preservation, distribution, and more opportunities for all in the rural sector for all across India. And everybody that has been here today and whoever listens to this discussion later, we encourage any kind of suggestions and further questions to be sent to our roundtable. We will take up on all suggestions and try to come up with the best actions possible. So thanking everyone here and thanking all the audience. We'd like to end this.
Thank you, Narasimha, for leading an amazing panel. And being a urban born and brought up and living a life in an urban city, it's very informative to know what's happening in the rural side of it. And I'm glad to know that all of you have already made a mark in that region already. With that, I would like to request Mr. Tarun Gulati to please come up on the stage and give a small memento of gratitude to the roundtable, the Rural FoodTech Roundtable. Mr. Tarun Gulati, ex-Vice Chairman, HSBC. Can I request the volunteers to get the mementos to the stage? Please do feel free to share your questions and get your questions answered with from the panel. They would be around there, around this area for some more time. And yes, you can also energize yourself by clapping for them and for yourself for being a wonderful audience and listening to them.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yes, okay, very good.
Could I request all of you to gather for one group picture? Tarun, there is a handheld mic if you wanted to say something.
I'd like to congratulate all the speakers here and the chairperson who did an excellent job, and to the audience for being such patient listeners. Thank you very much.
So with that, since the theme of ISF 2023 is innovating from the bottom of the pyramid, we will today be focusing on many more roundtables. So we are done with the Rural FoodTech Roundtable. Next, we would have a Rural FinTech Roundtable, for which we want you to come back very energized because it's all about numbers. right? So we would request all of you to take a break for 15 minutes. Get
No break for them. Only people from there, we will take 15 minutes.
We had
break में तो कोई नहीं आएगा यार. There are only 10 people sitting.
all right, so we would, in the interest of time, we would be continuing with the roundtables. I request all of you to please be seated, and I would also request all of the exhibitors to please come up and take up a chair. We will not have any visitors walking into the exhibition stalls for the next 2 hours.
For exhibitors, there's nobody to go around. Can you do something? क्या करें?
Could I request the Satyasai Ashram volunteers to please go around the exhibition stalls and get all the exhibitors into the conference area?
Main problem is the London Chamber stall. उनको किसी तरीके से
Request all the volunteers to get all the exhibitors and the exhibition representatives to please get them to the conference area.